So US Soccer has dropped the roster for the Switzerland friendly game on May 30th, but it doesn't mean that the same roster will be used for the Nations League. We are still waiting for that roster to drop and it will most likely have some changes. But I've decided to talk about which rosters I'd prefer to go with for the Nations League and Gold Cup. But more specifically, I'll be focusing on the starting lineup, as the two rosters will probably have some overlap as a whole anyway, but the starting lineups will definitely be very different. So let's get into it. Let's start with the starting 11 for the Nations League. Now, this should be our A team. So that means in goal, we should have Zach Steffen. He is obviously our number one choice and is the one I trust between the sticks to help lead the team to the Nations League final and hopefully a win that can give this team a trophy and the confidence it needs going into World Cup qualifiers. At right back, I'm going with Serginho Dest. Clearly our best choice at that position. He has impressed at Barcelona this season. Yes, they failed to win La Liga, but Dest has been one of the few bright spots in this team in an otherwise disappointing season, though they did manage to win the Copa del Rey, which Dest was a key part of. He's very good in attack, can still do better in defense, but he is improving in that area already. For the right center back position, I originally wanted to go with Chris Richards, as I do want him to start building some much needed chemistry with his not only with the team as a whole, but also especially with his partner at center back. However, that does not look to be the case as he is currently out with a hamstring injury. Fortunately, it doesn't look serious, but it does rule him out for at least Nations League. So, instead of him, I have to go with Matt Miazga. He has played there more with the national team, where he has been good for one or two big errors a game. He has played a lot for the Belgian club Anderlecht, where he's doing relatively well, even getting himself a goal. So he can be a solid defender, just needs to be more consistent. Let's hope he's able to have a strong performance in this semifinal, and hopefully the final as well if we progress. Now for the left center back, there is only one clear option, and that is John Brooks. A center back who, like Miazga, was also largely inconsistent, but was able to overcome that and become one of the best defenders not only in the Bundesliga, but for the USMNT as well. One of the veterans of the team who can bring some much needed weight, experience, and leadership to the team. At left back, I'm going with Anthony Robinson. By far the best choice we have for a natural left-footed left back. He has played well for Fulham, but that mostly was in the back three, where he's had more license to go forward and not worry so much in defense, which can help him as he does have some deficiencies in that area. It is unlikely that Berhalter will set up the team with the back three, so Robinson will have to be more careful and aware defensively. Despite this, I still think he is our best choice there and trust him to get the job done. For defensive midfield, the obvious choice is Tyler Adams. Now, there was some speculation that he would have been left off this roster due to a back injury, but as he is included in the roster against Switzerland, it does not seem to be that serious. So I expect him to start in Nations League, which is a very good thing as the team absolutely needs him there to be their anchor in the midfield. And the fact that we do not have a like-for-like replacement, at least not at his level and caliber. So it's imperative that he be fit and healthy to start. One of the center midfielders would obviously have to be Weston McKennie. He has been a revelation at Juventus where he has played plenty of games and scored 5 fantastic goals and has already won 2 trophies with the Italian side this season. His form did dip a bit towards the end of the season, but he is still by far the best choice at this position for the US. I know he was struggling with some injury problems as well, so hopefully he has fully recovered and can be at 100%. The midfielder in a more attacking position should be Gio Reyna. While Berhalter seems to play him more on the right to fit in Yunus Musa, I still think he plays best centrally. He has proven that with Dortmund, where he has had a solid season with them culminating in winning their domestic cup. He scored a total of 4 goals and 5 assists for them this year, and even at just 18 years old, he is one of the best players for the US men's national team already. We need Gio not only to be playing at his best, but also in his best position. Left winger is obviously Christian Pulisic. Considered to be the best player on the national team, and while he won't be playing in the friendly against Switzerland, that's because he will be in the Champions League final, where he hopes to be the second American in history to have won it, and the first American to have played a key role in winning it. By far our best choice on the left wing, we will need him to be firing on all cylinders to secure a place in the final and to eventually win it as well. Now on the right wing, I'm going with Tim Weah. This can be a somewhat contentious spot on the national team as several players have played there under Berhalter. But personally, I think Weah is the best option. He looks to win Ligue 1 this Sunday with Lille. While he has not been a starter for them, he has played a key role in their push for the title. Fast and dangerous on the wing, I think he'd be exactly what we need on that side. And for the striker, I'm going with Josh Sargent, the obvious candidate for me. Still the most complete striker we have, and he plays well in Berhalter's system. He can be dangerous with players like Weah, McKinney, and Reyna alongside him. He can also hold up the ball and create space for them as well, or even create chances all on his own. I'm looking forward to seeing him in action, and hopefully he won't let us down. Now, before we move on, you guys know the drill by now. Please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Don't forget to comment after this video as well. Now for the Gold Cup. This will be a completely different starting 11 and could be considered our B team. In goal, I'm going with Ethan Horvath. Now, some will want Matt Turner here instead, but the reason I'm going with Horvath is because Turner is already getting plenty of game time in MLS, but Horvath has not played much, if at all, with Club Brugge. And I really want to see him in action to see what he can bring. At right back, I'm going with DeAndre Yedlin. Yes, Reggie Cannon could be here as well, but I'm going with Yedlin as not only is he a veteran with plenty of experience, but has also had a decent season with the Turkish side Galatasaray, where he has done well, whereas Cannon has struggled this season. So Yedlin is in form and has proven that he can still be a very effective right back, so he gets the nod for me. At center back, Miles Robinson. One of the more exciting defenders to watch in MLS, he is the one I've been focusing on specifically to see if he has something to offer with the national team. And I think he does, at least for this team. Now, Berhalter will probably go with someone with more experience like Zimmerman, but I like to see Robinson get a chance with the national team and to see how he could hold up against this CONCACAF opposition. For his center back partner, I'd go with Mark McKenzie, a young prospect that we have been watching, and hopefully he can develop into a solid option for us at center back, as we are a bit weak in this area, especially the left side. Mark has been with the Belgian side Genk, who are currently fighting to win the league and have a strong chance to do so. He was brought on to be a replacement for their current starting center back, so even though he hasn't played many games for them this year, the ones he has played have been good, and he will for sure be a starter next season. So McKenzie definitely has shown that he can play here, and I'd love to see how he holds up against these teams in CONCACAF, and I'm expecting him to do well and more than hold his own. For the left back, I'd have to go with Sam Vines. Now, I'm going with him mostly due to a lack of options. This is probably our weakest spot in the national team. Vines is probably the best option after Robinson that at least plays in that position specifically. I think Vines is a solid MLS player and should do fine against this lower CONCACAF teams, like in this tournament, where several teams, like the US, are likely to send weaker squads this year. But he also did struggle against the U23s in the Olympic qualifying, so we'll see. For the center defensive midfielder, there are several options, such as Jackson Yueill and Owen Otasowie. Personally, I'd go with Otasowie. I do think he is better than Jackson, although he does play that defensive position very differently than Yueill, to be fair. Owen isn't afraid to join the attack and play a little further up the field. But we've already seen Jackson with the national team plenty, but Owen, not so much. So I like to see him there instead to see how he does. For center midfield, I think we should go with Luca de la Torre, a relatively new player in regards to the national team that has seemingly come out of nowhere. But he did impress in the other recent friendlies, so I think he earns his spot here. He has played plenty for his club in the Dutch First Division, where he has scored a goal and gotten 2 assists. I think he would do very well in this competition. And the center attacking midfielder should be Caden Clark. This kid has been on fire in MLS so far this season, one of the young players I said to look out for, and he has really shown why. 3 goals in just 5 matches. But it's not just the amount of goals in relatively little time, but the type of goals he scored. He is a highly technical and creative attacking midfielder, participates in link-up play, progresses the ball very well into the attacking third. His off-the-ball positioning and movement is superb. High soccer IQ, and I expect him to just get better and better. I do think he can hold his own against tougher opposition, like the kind he will likely face here. But despite being so young, he has proven he deserved the starting position in this tournament. Now for the right winger, I'd go with Conrad de la Fuente, a player that prior to this season was struggling. He had promise, but it wasn't turning into anything more than that. That has changed this season. Even though he is playing with the Barcelona B squad, he has shown that he belongs in a higher division. 6 goals in 22 games. I expect him to get a move to a club playing in the first division, either in Spain or elsewhere. And I expect him to do well in this tournament and even get a couple of goals to boot. Now, on the left wing, I think we should put Brendan Aronson. Now, like Gio Reyna, he plays better centrally, but has proven that he can play well out wide, especially on the left, where I've decided to start him because I wanted him to play with Caden Clark instead of for him. I think these two can and should link up well. They are both very technical and have high soccer IQs, but they have never played together, so there may not be chemistry, at least not immediately. Still, I want to see how they play together, and hopefully they can gel well rather quickly, so that no doubt that will lead to some very attractive football, but also a lot of goal scoring opportunities, and ultimately a lot of goals. And for the striker, there has to be Daryl Dike, a breakout star in the English Championship's second division, where he is currently fighting for promotion in the playoffs, and this weekend we will see if he is able to accomplish that or not. But regardless if he does or not, he still has had an incredible season where he has scored 9 goals so far. And he has been a key player for a side that nobody saw challenging for promotion prior to his arrival there. Now, he does still have some deficiencies, not as technical as he could be, but that can improve and he has time on his side. That is why I have him starting in this tournament, as I don't think he is able to replace Josh Sargent in our A team just yet. He should be able to perform very well against this type of opposition, and I expect him to get plenty of goals as they progress through the tournament. All right, guys, so that is my Gold Cup starting 11, along with my Nations League starting 11. Now, maybe by the time this video has dropped, or by the time you are watching this, most likely the official roster for the Nations League would have dropped, and maybe even the Gold Cup as well. So tell me what you all think. What players would you put instead of me, or instead of what Berhalter ultimately went with? Let me know down below. As always, thanks for watching. This is American Soccer United, the place where American soccer fans unite.